everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on Comics from the Future. This is the show we do every single Friday where we preview and you can pre-order all the latest and greatest books coming out. In case you don't know, my name is Megan.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Jason. We're with Infinity Flux Comics in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
That's right, we have a comic shop here, and we've started doing these shows for a while now and putting them up on YouTube to keep you guys informed so you don't miss out on any of the open order covers that come out. Because there's a lot of good stuff all the time, every week. So, yeah, I don't know if I have anything else to say before we jump into it.
We were talking before this how there's not a lot of big events going on. You know, King in Black is over, Future State's done. Marvel's ramping up for Heroes Reborn, but the first issue isn't even out. So it lets a lot of these other books sort of sing.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a good medium week. I think, you know, the heavy weeks have kind of subsided because no events.
Yeah, it's weird because, I mean, for so long it was like, it felt like King in Black went on. It was a great event, but it felt like it went on for a half a year.
Well, let's get ready for Heroes Reborn. I may have some things to say on that, but I think, Megan, you're up first, aren't you?
I am up first today. So our first book is a real big one. This is Milestone Returns, Infinite Edition, number 0. Why is it a number 0? Because this is going to be an origin story. This is going to be a primer for us before Milestone starts putting out lots of other books. Their first one going to be Static. We're not talking about that yet. We're talking about the one-shot. This is just $4.99, and part of this was released digitally on the DC Fandom, but now it's actually in physical format, so this tells the origin and the beginning events of the Milestone sort of universe, the Big Bang that caused lots of the population to get their powers, so we're going to get the origins of Static, Hardware, Icon, Rocket in this issue, and it also has a primer in it that expands their origins, just gets you ready for the rest of what we're going to see with Milestone. So, very important issue. I think this will be ordered pretty heavily, hopefully. I'm really excited. It's going to feature a lot of Black creators, so I think this is going to be big, so don't miss out. We have a couple covers with it. This is the...
This is not literally the cover, but...
the junior variant. Interesting. Not the cover, not available yet, unfortunately. And then we have a blank variant as well. Perhaps someone like Mr. Andy.
I could
He could
give a crack at it.
Let your favorite artist or something hopefully get a crack at this. So yeah, don't miss this one.
I think this is really, really big. Especially, I don't know if a lot of newer comics readers know, they may be familiar with Static from like the cartoon show Static Shock, but a lot of these characters we haven't seen in publication for quite a while.
Nope.
And they're really important characters, really really great, created with a lot of care and stuff back in the 90s, and it's cool that they are finally getting to shine again, because I know it's been talks at DC for a long time about these characters finally coming back in a big way, and I'm glad it's finally happening.
I have been hunting down those number ones in the wild now for about a year. Icon, Hardware, you know, Static you don't often find in the dollar bin, but all the other ones I've just been grabbing them, so I'm excited to see if this is a resurgence.
Yeah. And a lot of the original creators are coming back to work on their characters. So, this is done with a lot of love, too, which I think is going to pay off. Next up is a new 6-issue miniseries, Mr. Miracle, The Source of Freedom. So if you read, I believe it was Superman... Was it Worlds of War that had his backup in it? The Future State
Right,
book?
I believe so.
Had a backup story with this. I almost said new Mr. Miracle. Shiloh Norman has actually been Mr. Miracle in the past, but they're just now bringing him back as this character. So this kind of spins out of Future State, or more or less tells you the origin of Shiloh Norman, how he got to that Future State predicament that he was in. But we all know Scott Free as the main Mr. Miracle. Well, this shows the origin of Shiloh Norman, how he was also a master escape artist and a entertainer, and he gets this title of Mr. Miracle, but someone else is going to be showing up trying to claim that title for themselves. And I actually just 30 minutes ago got a chance to read through this, and I will say there is a big, I won't call it a first appearance. I think it's more of a cameo. Maybe the second one will have a full
It looked like a first cameo.
first cameo, but in the same way of Wolverine's first appearance, where he comes out and says a line and stuff. There is a character in this that, for longtime fans of stuff like the New Gods, Mr. Miracle, all of that, I think you'll be really interested in this new character that shows up. So I'm calling it here. There's a first cameo in Mr. Miracle, The Source of Freedom, #1. And this is the variant cover, and this one is by... Well, I'm not sure, I don't have it written down, but it's really cool. Also, just want to mention, this is written by Brandon Easton, who recently worked on some of the Civil War II tie-ins, all that, but he actually was a writer for Agent Carter, as well as the 2012 Thundercats show that had an amazing story. So definitely bring in some new voices from like TV and movies and stuff to work on this.
All right, so from Marvel, we told you we were going to talk about Heroes Reborn. We have been for some time now. Issue 1 has not dropped yet. I got to read a preview of issue 1, issue 3, and issue 4. For some reason, they didn't give us issue 2. It's a really interesting event book, but what I'm talking about here are some of the one-shots that are kind of spinning off of it. This is going to be tricky because if you don't order these one-shots from your store, I don't think they're going to order a lot of them. I wish they gave us more time to see how this is.
At least have issue 1 out.
What the public reception is. Anyway, so this is Heroes Reborn, Magneto and the Mutant Force #1. The premise to this is pretty interesting. Now, I've not read a preview of this one, but the premise is, so with Heroes Reborn, the Squadron Supreme is in the position the Avengers were. The Avengers have never been formed. Captain America was never found in the ice. As to why, we don't know. That's the big mystery of Heroes Reborn. Blade's the only one that remembers. So in this universe where Squadron Supreme is the Avengers, they got into a battle with mutant kind a while back, and it led to basically the Squadron almost decimating all the mutants. There's hardly any left, and they killed Professor X. So this is set, years after that. Magneto, who's one of the last mutants, and it almost looks like he's the new sort of Professor X, possibly even injured in that way. Magneto discovers Professor X's essence is still in the astral plane. So he gathers together the last few mutants, and he's going to try to bring Professor X back to lead the mutants back against the Squadron. The problem is, this puts them back on the Squadron Supreme's sort of list of problems. So I think as they're trying to save Professor X, the Squadron's coming in, and they're going to duke it out all over again. So I think pretty cool premise. I mean, that's a lot for one issue.
Yeah, that's a big thing to tackle.
Yeah,
a big story.
But that sounds interesting. So you might want to let your store know if you want this. It has a variant cover. The variant cover, this is by Benjamin. And then there is a spoiler variant, and of course they couldn't show us because it would spoil everything.
That's interesting. That's a spoiler cover for a one-shot. I mean, not that it won't have like ramifications or something, but it's just odd to give a one-shot a spoiler cover.
So a few more of the one-shots. This is Siege Society #1. So the Squadron Supreme, even though, and I read the first issue, they seem like good guys. It seems like they're not as good as I thought in the later ones, because in this issue, Baron Zemo has pulled together a new team to take on the European Squadron Supreme. Apparently, Nighthawk, he split from the regular squadron, started his own group, and not everyone in Europe really likes him. So Zemo gets together Black Widow, Clint Barton, you got Sabretooth, and Scott Lang. It's a very interesting team to try to take down the Nighthawk's European Squadron Supreme. So that's the one shot there. It has a variant by FERREIRA. And then the last one shot that they're soliciting this week is called Heroes Reborn Young Squadron. So this is sort of like the junior heroes who love the Squadron Supreme and want to be like them. So as you can see on there, you got, what is his name? It is Kid Spectrum, that's it.
Kid Spectrum.
Yeah, so he's not Kid Nova, he's Kid Spectrum. That's Sam Alexander. You got Kamala Khan on this, and she's going by Girl Power.
Mm.
And guess who all new Falcon is? It's Miles Morales.
That's
so
cool.
In this universe without the Avengers, it just like kind of shifted how everybody would end up. Anyhow, so they are this young sort of Squadron Supreme, and it seems like they're good. It seems like everything's fine. But the solicit says that Deadpool, of all people, suspects there's something wrong there. Something very wrong and grim is going on, and he's going to investigate it and find out what's happening. So a lot of really weird, interesting plot lines with this. So whatever ones kind of grab it, you might want to let your shop know that you want these to make sure that they actually order enough and that you get them. I think it's going to be underordered. It's going to be one that people end up running to later once they get into the main plot
Especially
line.
this one. This is dealing with a lot of the hottest characters right now. I know we have the most people interested on order for this one in particular because of these younger characters. I mean, Miles is hot right now. Kamala Khan.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about Sam Alexander going to be appearing and stuff. And it's a cool thing. People like their young heroes, and I think it's cool to see. You know, why is Miles
Falcon? Yeah, that's the one that I'm really interested in. So here's the variant for that. This is the Okazaki variant. Notice in the background, I do believe that's Deadpool.
You're looking pretty rough.
I like he suspects them of a grim secret. look at him. He is a grim secret.
You should look in a mirror.
Well, speaking of young heroes, we have a new miniseries coming out from Marvel. This is Reptil, and this is going to be a 4-part miniseries. So Humberto Lopez is our main character. He's not a new character, but once again, this is his first ongoing. No, it's not ongoing. His own series.
Solo outing.
There we go. So if you don't know a lot about this character, basically his parents are paleontologists, and they have gone missing. The main character's adamant that they're not dead, but they're just missing. But they find a fossilized amulet on one of their paleontologist outings, and that helps activate his powers. So his powers, as you can probably see, is that parts of his body and eventually his whole self can turn into a dinosaur. So pretty cool premise. I like with the font there. They have the little reptilian scales, indie lettering, and all that. So I love that Marvel and other publishers are trying to do something geared toward younger audiences, because it's not just for kids. This is rated teen. But, you know, I have a lot of customers who come in and they're like, I just read King in Black. I just read Joker War. I just need something that's, you know, not like the end of the world. So something lighthearted, and this is exactly what that is for, so I'm really excited for the series. Oh, and this is our variant cover. So this is the Del Mundo variant, and as you can see, he's kind of fossilized there, so really cool.
I like that.
Pointing to his history.
I love this character, too. It's like every kid's wish fulfillment when they're little and like, I want to be a dinosaur when I grow up. And we'll see if that actually works out too well.
It looks like he's excavating himself, too. Like he's found his own fossils.
Next up is a book that is going to be a little hard to explain. I read it. I actually read the whole thing just a little while ago, and it's still, I'm still thinking about it. So this is Made in Korea. This is a new book from Image about AI and the ramifications of AI, and kind of set in the semi-future where a family adopts a daughter who is, I wouldn't say a robot, kind of an android type thing, who there may be more to her than your traditional robot or android, because of some behind-the-scenes things going on at the factory. It almost sounds like I'm describing Chucky, the latest Child's Play movie.
It might turn out that way. I mean, look at that cover. That's a creepy cover.
Yeah, but it starts out pretty innocent enough, but it gets really interesting without, you know, giving away a lot of spoilers. But it seems like this is going to be a very Twilight Zone deep dive into kind of the morals of you know, if something has complete AI, and you know, what does that mean for families and everything. I don't know. It was a really cool issue. The art on the cover is the interior art, so it's kind of fun, not cartoony, but a little bit flatter art. but I think that really helps sell the that kind of surrealness of some of it. So I really liked it. It is by Jeremy Holt and George Shaw. So I definitely recommend this. It's not doing a great job explaining it, but it is really cool. Definitely read it and check it out for yourself.
I think you did a good job explaining. I mean, it's a complicated book.
It is.
I read the first issue too, and I really liked it as well. I like Twilight Zone stories, and this is totally Twilight Zone, but it looks like it's set to get a little creepier.
Mm-hmm.
It has something to do with AI,
Mm-hmm.
early AI, possibly even secret AI.
Yeah.
The first issue really grabbed me. I thought the art to it was just perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So I also
It
have
does
to
look really
recommend
cool.
this. And just one cover. I mean, this is
Yeah.
one of these, I think it's more for readers than, collectors.
Yeah, definitely look at the faces around the central girl, and you see kind of some creepy robot faces. There's a scene in it that's like that is super, super creepy.
Yeah.
Kind of showing the darker side of it.
It didn't read like any comic I've read lately.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of like out of indie.
Yeah.
So the next comic is The Blue Flame, a superhero book from Vault. So Vault typically doesn't do superhero
Mhm.
books. They do a lot of horror. They do a lot of just different sort of
Mhm.
books. And we got an email from Vault about this one where they even said that in there. They're like, we don't typically do superhero books, but this isn't just a superhero book. They touted this book in the email as being their Watchmen, as being the book, the best book that they've done, the best book they may ever do. I mean, this email just went on and on.
Yeah.
It had curse words in it to tell us how good the book was. So I got to read a preview issue. They were smart enough to include the preview issue, and I have to say I did like it a lot. Uh, is it their Watchmen? I don't know. It's only issue one
Yeah.
of, I believe it's a 6-issue series. I felt like I needed to read the second one before I could say anything of that sort. But what I will tell you is it is being told on an elevated level. The story isn't just purely linear. You're not just following a superhero fighting crime. In fact, it is told in 3 different time periods that I can tell. In one time period, you have the Blue Flame, who is an HVAC mechanic.
No, cool.
By day. And at night, he is part of a superhero team. So you get to meet the different heroes on that team, giving it, a little bit of a Watchmen feel.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing a meet and greet with their fans when all of a sudden there seems to be something very horrific happens at this. Something that you don't normally see in a superhero thing, something with consequences. Well, in another time period, it seems to be after that, I think, in the future, and he's in space all by himself in another galaxy, and he meets these aliens, and I won't tell you everything that happens, but they want to put him in a position where he will help judge the fate of humanity. Like if humankind is worthy to go on. And it seems like a lot of his personal life and also possibly ramifications from things he's gone through, like the shooting, may have to do with that. Then I believe there's another time period it takes place in the past. It might be with his parents. It was very unclear. It wasn't hazy writing because it was done poorly. It feels like a very big story.
Mm-hmm.
So I was impressed. The art is really good. The art is fantastic in it. It looks like a lot was put into it. So yes, they promised the sun, moon, and stars with this one. It's got a lot of covers that other stores are doing, store exclusives. But I felt this was like an elevated superhero book. I think it's worth reading the first one. I'm really looking forward to reading the second. I think the second's going to solidify how much I like it or not. So it has a few variant covers. This is the B variant cover. And this is the C variant cover by Daniel.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, you just went super in depth with that. And I'm going to do the opposite with this one, because if you like The Witcher and the Witcher franchise and things like that, then you'll probably already have this on your radar. And if not, then there you go. But this is a new mini-series from the Witcher stuff. This is Witch's Lament. This is the A cover for it, and as we see, a witch being burned on the stake there. That is our central storyline. So this is the FINNSTARK variant and the Codal variant. probably didn't pronounce that correct, but there's not a cover here anyway. So
yeah, well, we're getting ready for Witcher season 2. I feel like the hype for Witcher is still building, and the comics have actually been really, really good. Where if you're familiar with like the way that Hellboy stories are structured, they'll be a few issues long, but they're a pretty finite,
yeah,
centralized story, and it usually involves Geralt the Witcher stumbling into a town, and we've got there's a monster up in the hills. Will you help us with it? And through twists and turns, maybe the monster isn't the big villain there. They're always really good. I've read the omnibus of it. I recommend the Witcher stuff. You don't have to go back and find the very first issue of The Witcher. You can jump into any of these miniseries.
Books like this are often under-ordered as well.
Yeah.
We're seeing it right now with the God of War miniseries.
Yeah.
So the God of War miniseries was between games, and we ordered up on it, still didn't order enough. People found out about it late, and all the people who, they read comics sometimes, but sometimes they don't. They all came to the store looking for it. I think this is one, if you think you want it, I would order it, because stores are going to underorder it, and then the show's going to come out and everyone's going to want what happened in between and things of that sort.
Next up is Star Wars Adventures, The Weapon of a Jedi. So I believe this is only a 2-issue story, which IDW with their Star Wars stuff, they've had their ongoing, but then they also had like that Smuggler's Run 2-issue story about Han. This one sounds really interesting. So this is set after A New Hope, and it's a story I guess I never thought about. I mean, for me, that's rare because I think about every aspect of Star Wars constantly. But in A New Hope, you have Luke, who is a member of Red Squadron. He's the lead, or he's Red 5, and he's always wanted to be a pilot. That's what he talks about. Before he goes on any of his adventures, is he wants to join the Empire and become a pilot in the Navy. And what this explores is, by the time we get to Empire, he's not really a pilot for the rebellion anymore. What happens that turns him away from being going full military and to be a fighter pilot in an X-Wing? So the solicitation talks about, well, there's a call from the Force that brings him down a different path. And I think it'll be really interesting in this to explore what changes his mind from what his initial, what he was really excited to do when he got out in the galaxy. These IDW series, a lot of people underestimate them because they think they're for kids or they're, really low reader grade. They're actually really solid stories that get to tell tales that are outside of a long running like a High Republic or the main Marvel Star Wars stories. These get to pick and choose what time frame they happen in and what stories they tell. So this only being 2 issues, I think this is an easy sell, not a big commitment, and it sounds like a really interesting story.
Yeah, and it's called Weapon of a Jedi, and he is staring at that lightsaber handle lovingly.
Yeah, it's I really love these weapons of Jedi.
And I mean, it's all in canon. You see Disney right there in the bottom corner. In fact, I think in the contract, Disney's like, make sure our logo is bigger than the IDW one, because it is.
Yeah, we paid for this space. Yeah. And it only had 1 cover.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's different for a Star Wars anything.
Yeah.
So the next one up, so this is our next segment. We're done with sort of our featured comics. Now we're going to go over issue number 2s, number 3s, just to remind people of hot series. Also just really cool covers that we have found out there in the wild. That we just want people to know about. So here is Robin number 2. I really like this cover. If anyone read Robin number 1, it totally makes sense to you. It hasn't been out long enough that I'm going to go ahead and spoil it or anything. Robin number 1 ended with quite the shocking ending.
Yeah.
He is on the Lazarus Island, however, fighting in the Lazarus tournament. So here we have Flatline, and she's perched on a grave, saying some funny lines. I think Flatline's a really interesting, awesome new character. I hope we see a lot more of her, and I think we will. So in this issue, Robin has to prove that he is worthy of being in the tournament. I have so much more to say about this based on the first issue, but I can't. So he's got to prove that he's worthy of being in the tournament. It also appears that the fights in the tournament are going to be to the death. But bear in mind, once again, Lazarus. So they might be able to have these fights to the death, yet the deaths don't really stick.
Yeah.
I still think that's cool, though, because they're setting it up that way. It's not going to be like you find out as a surprise at the end. These people who died, they didn't die.
Yeah.
That will let the fights just go further than most fights are allowed to go, while still not having to kill off a cool cast of characters.
Yeah.
So Robin #2, I'm really looking forward to it. And here is the variant by Francis Menopole. Robin's getting ready, or actually it looks like he's finishing with some action. He's got blood on the knuckles.
All right, this is Action Comics 1031, the Tedesco cardstock B cover if you're following the War World storyline. It's a really nice variant here.
I like it. It reminds me a lot of the Fleischer cartoons, like the old-timey cartoons where Superman was always fighting like gangsters and stuff.
I love the perspective on this.
Yeah. Next up is a few Batman Fortnite comics, which, I mean, who would have thought this would be like the hottest comic right now? So this is Batman Fortnite 0. I keep wanting to say it's like 0.1, 0.2. No, it's Batman Fortnite 0. Number 5. Surprisingly enough, they do not have the A cover out, or the B cover, I don't think.
Nope.
But, and the B cover is by Amanda Connor, which I really want to see. But this one is really interesting because we know later on in the series where for a while they can't talk or anything, they can now. And in the most Batman way, him and Catwoman are now underneath the main map in Fortnite, the main island, in some never-before-seen areas from the game. So almost like a teaser, maybe like they're going to be expanding the map or something. But it seems really cool as they're trying to get out of this constant loop that they are stuck in. So, I mean, everyone, of course, are going to be picking this up for the downloadable, the codes that you get from them to get items in the game. But also, I think it's a really fun story. It's fun to see Batman kind of out of his element, trying to figure all this weirdness out.
Yeah, there's a lot of dialogue in issue number 4. Like, the minute they can talk, a lot of talking occurs.
Then we have Batman Fortnite #1. This is the 3rd printing. I know the big question with these are, do they come with the codes? I know for at least was the 2nd printing, it said it does come with a code. It did not specify if it was the same code that came with the 1st printing. I think that's almost going to have to be a wait and see. But if you missed out on the 1st printing, you'll probably want to pick this one up and maybe get that Harley skin. Who knows? But still really cool.
It just gives you part of it. You just have Harley's pants. That's it.
People will be all over that. Yeah, one hot pink pigtail. And then we have Batman Fortnite 0. #3, 2nd printing. And of course, this is the big one with Batman versus Snake Eyes. You see it right there on the cover. I think, is this a recolor? Maybe a different background? I think maybe the 1st printing had a yellow background. I'm not sure. I can't think of the 1st cover right away, but still another cover with Snake Eyes on it, which is really cool.
All right, so this is the B cover, the Derek Chu variant for Harley Quinn #3. Harley Quinn and her friend Kevin, you see him there in the corner, sort of behind Harley, they're going up against Hugo Strange. Hugo Strange.
More like Hugo Strange.
Yeah, that one. He has been empowered by the mayor of Gotham to take out the masks using all the resources of Arkham and his own twisted plans. Well, he sends his head Arkham guard, Lockwood, after Harley and Kevin in this issue. So that's what's going on in it. And as I said, this is the Derek Chu variant.
All right, then we have Teen Titans Academy #3. This is the Philip Tan cover. Of course, we have Red X right there in the middle of it. Awesome flames sort of creating our little vignettes here. So, really nice cover for Teen Titans Academy #3.
Next up, we have Ruby Justice League number 2. I think this is one people will be excited about because this sees Weiss, the W in Ruby, going to help a brooding youngster who has been accused of being a thief, which we can tell from this that brooding youngster is Bruce Wayne. So really cool. It still looks like they're continuing where every issue is going to have kind of a team up between a Ruby character and the Ruby Universe's version of a Justice League character. Then we have the really nice Demio variant.
I think that's you.
I think this one might be out of order, actually.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wait, nope, I see. So this is for Batman Superman number 18. This is the Bianchi variant. I was getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
I was
so
on my
excited.
next one. So, yeah, so this is for Batman Superman number 18. They are trying to go up against the new villain, Alter IO.
Yeah.
He has sort of a film camera for a head. He's created these pocket realities, and they're trying to take him down. But this issue, beyond that, it's supposed to be the origin and explain who Alter IO is.
These are some muscly boys on this.
Yeah, dark, broody, sort of Bianchi variant.
I mean, if you in real life, if you looked up in a building, there's two muscle boys standing up there like that, you'd be like, that's weird looking, but it works for this.
Okay, this is Detective Comics 1036, the Lee Bermejo variant. Just awesome. I like that the variants are a little less dark right now. We're getting some light. We can see all the beautiful.
Is this for Detective?
This is Detective, yes, 1036.
In my mind, I'm trying to put the story together about. I think last time he was like climbing up a fire escape, and something happens where.
Yeah, this time he's getting swallowed by the ground, and I mean, it looks like eyes and a nose.
Maybe Clayface.
Yeah, sort of Clayface.
Yeah,
possibly.
I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is exciting because this is Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 26. This is the next part in the clone saga of Miles Morales, where Miles teams up with Peter Parker, who, you know, Peter at this point thinks he's got this whole clone thing down pat. But they go up against 3 clones that aren't quite as human as Ben Reilly was, so they're in for a challenge where now Peter doesn't quite know what to expect.
I think that might be the first cover appearance of some of those clones.
It may be.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the one I thought I was on earlier. The Marvels number 2. So number 1 came out last week. We can't believe how fast it flew off our shelves. You know, so Alex Ross's The Marvel has been a mini series a few times, and we have the people that always buy it, but usually doesn't pick up a lot of traction. This is now an ongoing series. It's starting over. It's sort of an alternate Marvel universe that they're allowed to just toy with the characters how they want. So the characters are who you remember. It's just more they'll have anyone they want in the book. Like right now, I think Arrow's in the book, Punisher, Black Cat, the Mad Tinkerer. I mean, it's just a weird pairing of how they want it to be. Issue 1 was really great. The art was really cool. So we want everyone to know, ask your store if you want issue 2, because, I mean, if your store's like us, we sold out of that number 1 faster than I could explain.
Yeah.
It also has a new character. He's right there on the cover. His name is Kevin Schumer. He shows off, I guess, where the heroes typically are. He runs sort of like a
tour guide.
Yeah, he's a tour guide of the heroes, but it seems like he has his own secret. I mean, you totally get the sense this guy has superpowers and he's trying to keep it quiet. So I think a lot of people came out for his first appearance. So there might be more in this one. Marvel's number 2.
All right, more Heroes Reborn. As Jason explained earlier really well, this is the event for Marvel where the Avengers never formed. And why did they never form? Is this a good thing or not? What is going on? So yes, this is already number 4. This is a weekly series. It has not released yet. It will be releasing soon with the number 1. This is extremely difficult for stores to order. So if you do think you want to be on this series, it's a good idea to go ahead and sign up for the full thing. This is issue 4, like I said, and we don't have number 1 yet. It's hard to order. Hard for you to order, hard for us to order. So this is the A cover you just saw. This is the Bagley variant, the trading card variant. And next is the Carnero Stormbreakers variant. Really beautiful. And then one more, we have the action figure variant.
They're using Dr. Spectrum a lot in these.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets his own sort of issue. Each of the main Heroes Reborn kind of follows one of the Squadron Supreme members, and then the second half typically goes back to the Blade investigating story, which may also have a lot to do with Captain America.
It's interesting. I've read quite a bit of stuff with Hyperion. I don't know if I've read anything with Dr. Spectrum.
Here is your chance.
I can't wait to dive in deep. This is, I mean, an awesome variant cover.
Wow.
This is for Alien. What number is this? Number 3. This is the Adam Kubert variant.
Yeah, that is a great, frightening cover.
Very frightening.
Okay, so this is the cover for X-Men number 20. So take a minute and look at what is here. You have Mystique. She is on a copy machine that says Marvel on it. So I almost feel like she's at Marvel's office. And look at the copy she's making. She can make herself look however she wants. So it's just all the different mutants and faces. I think that's a very, very clever cover.
Yeah.
Really good. Probably my favorite X-Men cover since the Rogue One, the incentive that was done with all the different rogues throughout the year. So this is the B cover, so the Del Mundo cover. It is open order, so you can order as many as you want, just cover price.
As many as you can make copies.
Yeah.
There you go. I think this is going to be a pretty hot cover.
Next up is Star Wars Darth Vader number 12. This is the Crimson variant. And we were joking about this earlier. This is the solicit for this. This is still a prelude to War of the Bounty Hunters. So we're still not quite at War of the Bounty Hunters yet. But it says, as Vader is getting reconstructed, if you're reading Vader right now, you know that he's got like one super battle droid arm and he's been blown apart. But also features the first time Vader learns of Han Solo, which I'm very interested to see because I just imagine someone says, "Oh, this guy's named Han Solo," and Darth Vader says, "Whatever, I don't care. I have nothing to do with him." But I want to see how they get Han on Vader's radar, because at this point he really only cares about Luke and people Force sensitive. So it sounds really interesting, and the series has been great. This is the Crimson variant that they're doing for all of the War for the Bounty Hunters, which we've been kind of speculating why they're doing these Crimson variants. Other than they look nice, is there a bigger meaning behind them that we'll learn in the series?
I figure, somebody mentions Han Solo, he's like, Han Solo, and he checks his phone, he's like, not in my contact list. That's it.
Then we have the Empire Strikes Back variant. Maybe one more Empire Strikes Back variant after this, but this one is a really nice, getting right at the end of the movie.
Yes.
And then we have Dr. Aphra, number 10. This is also the Crimson variant. But another thing, if you are keeping track of all the Star Wars stuff, especially the High Republic stuff, this does mention of Dr. Aphra having a Nile hyperdrive. So if you're following High Republic, you know about the Nile, you know what their hyperdrives do, where that really is a big thing for them. That's why it makes them such an intimidating force. And you're trying to get all the little things that mentions High Republic stuff. This is one of them.
All right, next up is Trials of Loki, Marvel Tales. So Loki gets the Marvel Tales treatment. This reprints Loki from the 2010 series 1 through 4. So it goes back over his origin, and there's just one cover here. But yeah, everyone's favorite trickster that we love to love and sometimes love to hate. But I did think it was interesting. It says it's gonna go over in the series, if you read it, why Loki can't be stopped. Why can't we just put an end to him?
Why can't he be non-stop Loki?
We don't want to stop him. But yeah, this is going to be big. It's $7.99. So I definitely think this will sell very easily with Disney Plus show coming out and all that.
They know what they're doing.
They know.
Got us by the purse strings. Speaking of things that have us by the purse strings, this is the B cover, the OEM cover to Department of Truth number 9. So if you've been reading Department of Truth, as many people have, you know that theories can manifest into physical form. This issue says what happens when those physical forms that were once just theory begin having thoughts of their own. So just further and further down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And here is the C cover
I love
by
this one.
Thorogood.
It's my neighbor
So
Totoro.
Yeah, it also was reminding me of the Babadook pretty hard.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. Okay, next up, keeping on down the weird horror track is Haha number 5. This is the penultimate issue. This is the A cover by Walta. And let's go ahead and go to the variant. I love this variant. It helps tell us a little bit more about the issue as well. This is the Connolly variant. As you can see, our main clown character here is juggling some different grocery store items. And it seemed like from the solicitation, this one is going to go into people's houses. I think she's maybe going to go along, pick up a piece of food item, and then we'll see how that relates to someone's actual life story. I don't know. But anyway, Haha's been great. All about clowns, all about their individual lives. So we get an old lady is the focus of our clown story this time.
Is issue 6 finally going to go over juggalos?
the Fago issue. And...
I hope so, and I hope not, because the creator of Haha and Ice Cream Man said that there will be some sort of crossover with issue 6. So we're gonna get Juggalos, Ice Cream Man, and Haha just all swirling around.
Juggalos will bring the horror.
Next up is Spawn. This is number 318. What's exciting about this is this basically says leads into Spawn Universe number 1. So we're finally at that long talked about Spawn Universe supersized issue. And it says this is the jumping on point. If you haven't been reading Spawn, you want to get this issue because this starts the events that lead into whatever big thing happens in Spawn Universe that's going to spawn a bunch of spin-off series. So definitely, if you are on the fence or you thought that sounded exciting about Spawn Universe, definitely want to start here, pick this one up. It's got some really nice variant covers too. This is, I believe this is the McFarlane cover, which is such a classic looking Spawn cover.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, it's a little more than a silhouette. You get just a little bit of color too.
And then we have the Barin's variant, which one of the previous issues of Spawn actually went into how he makes these covers, and he like digitally sculpts all the characters. So it's really interesting, but I feel like that's an artist to be on the lookout for.
I really like it when a solicit is so clear like this one was. This one just very clearly was like, this is the jumping on point, just like, hey, let everyone know.
Yeah.
Here it is.
It really didn't even mention like the story.
Yeah.
It was just like, hey, this begins the story. Yeah. So get this issue.
Okay, so this is the Jenny Frison variant to Something is Killing the Children, number 16. This is the much anticipated beginning of the origin of Erica Slaughter storyline. Everyone's been waiting for this. We've had people asking us about this weeks ago. So you might already know about it, but for those of you who don't, this is one you want to definitely order before they run out. So this, of course, is the Frison variant. There is an A cover to it as well. Origin story of Erica Slaughter, and it's not just in one issue. I think they're doing a whole arc on it. So
I like it too because Frison has done some Something's Killing the Children variants, and
since the beginning,
and she always looks very confident on the cover. In this, you get a lot of like timidness, kind of hiding behind the weapon. So a lot of story in this image as well.
That's true.
Okay, next up is from Scout Comics. This is Midnight Western Theater number 1. It is going to be a 5-part series, and this seems to be a series of one-shots, just like in the vein of Ice Cream Man and Haha. Here we go with Western horror. So each issue focusing on a different situation. So another one of Scout released through Lunar. So it's going to be pretty interesting, just a 5-part series.
Then we have Rabid World. I mean, it's a great cover when you look at it. Almost gives me the Goon vibes.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like a character being Goon. But this is about a kind of almost a zombie outbreak, but more with rabies, that starts with a single dog bite. and follows two couples as as the world's getting taken over by this rabies virus, and one of the couples is just trying to survive, and the other one is looking for some kind of cure for it. So it sounds interesting. It's a little spin on kind of the zombie genre, but this time with rabies. And this is also from Scout.
This is King Tank Girl #5, the final issue of King Tank Girl. This is the Scotty Young cover. I'm sure everybody knew off the bat. This issue promises to be very bloody. That was the promise in the solicitation.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have Helm Greycastle #2 of the 4-part series. This is the cover B, the Sajic variant, as Andy talked about on the show that we do, not we do, you guys do, on Tuesday. Instead of, our fantasy settings are often informed by, Norse mythology and European, just vibe.
Yeah, with your typical dragons,
yes.
Arthurian stuff.
Yeah, we're so used to that. So this is doing a more Aztec feel to it. And at least with issue #1, there was actually an adventure at the end of it. So I wonder if they'll keep on with that. That is typical of series like this. So I'm sure there will be. So this is #2, the variant cover for it.
Next up is The Old Guard, Tales Through Time. This is #2, and this is the De Landro variant.
Looks like a terracotta warrior, but sort of undead on the cover.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people now are discovering the series, at least since the Netflix movie came out last year.
This is Shadecraft #3. Just want to remind everybody about it if you enjoyed #1, to just let your store know that you want this one. In this issue, it says that Zadie has learned to control her shadow powers. You can kind of see that on the cover.
Yeah. So I like how this went from like really scary covers to this one's kind of funny.
Yeah. So Zadie learns how to control her shadow powers, and that's going to let her fight back against all the shadow world creatures. We've mentioned this since before #1 came out, but this has already been optioned, so that made the #1 sell out real quick. But here's the latest one.
I loved issue 1 of that, so looking forward to it. This is My Little Pony Transformers Volume 2. The Volume 1 did so well, they immediately did a Volume 2. So it's a 4-part series. This is the variant of by Bethany McGuire Smith. Love it. Lisa Frank looking, watercolor. Just so good.
Next up is Shadow Man, issue 2. But this is the Francavilla homage cover, and without saying it, do you know what it is? Because I feel like this one's pretty obvious.
Pause the video, type it in the comments. What is the horror movie homage? We should probably say what the one was from Stray Dogs back from our video last week. If you guys didn't know, that was from Demons, which is a Dario Argento film not too many people know about. This one, we'll tell you in the comments. Unless Andy wants to tell you now.
No, I'll let them guess. I'll let them have their fun. But it's a really, really nice cover.
Okay, so this comic, I wish I could tell you what it is about. Luckily, there's some preview pages. So this is from Behemoth. It's called MFKZ, and that's the way I'm going to say it. No other way to say that. So the solicitation for this one doesn't say anything about what it's about. All it says... It talks about the cover itself. It says that the cover artist went full Fast and Furious on this fully painted cover. And that's cool. I like the cover. I think that's neat. But what is the book? Like, why would they not say anything about what is inside the book? So there are some preview pages you can look at on Previews World. I read them. Is definitely a humor book, not purely humor, like very dark humored. This character seems to be a pizza delivery boy, very sophomoric humor. But I just had to point out, it is rare somebody solicits something where it's just like, nobody knows what this is.
And this is from Behemoth, which had, what was that book called that went crazy?
Are you talking about You Promised Me Darkness?
You Promised Me Darkness was by the same publisher.
That's another reason I wanted to put this on. It's books like these that suddenly are worth a bunch of money because nobody knows. Like, us retailers are like, oh, it's a painted cover, but I don't know anything about the book, so we don't order enough. and then suddenly everyone wants it because it turns out it's cool. So check it out. Wanted to let you know what it was. You can look at the preview pages. I think they display it real well, and you'll know if you want it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And then you won't have to go online and track it down for $30.
I want you guys to make up your own descriptions of what this is.
Yeah, is it a Ghost Rider, but when he was in college, or is this a prequel to Twisted Metal? Or
I know his boss is really mean, and there's definitely a lot of cursing in this, and it's
really?
like I
With
said,
that title?
some sophomore humor. MFKZ, I don't know what it means.
Okay, this is the Girls of Dimension 13 from Aftershock. This is issue number 2. I really liked issue number 1, surprisingly a lot more than I thought I would. It's kind of a house on haunted hill. Girls gathering together at this mansion. They find they all have different powers. So, lighthearted, a little bit spooky, but well written. So this is issue number 2.
Next up is Nightwing number 79 variant. Which, I mean, is this the second printing, or this is
it's the second printing?
Yeah, it's 79, the second printing, which it always caught me off guard because I looked at this, I'm like, this is a prime variant cover. Like, this is so good. The more you look at it, the more fun it is, with kind of an homage to the 66 Batman, and you get all the different versions of Nightwing going all the way back to when he has a ponytail, to when he was just Dick Grayson. Then you've got little Alfred hand in the bottom holding his cape up. Anyways, Nightwing, I think, has been kind of the biggest surprising hit. Not that like everyone likes Nightwing, but that it would be the massive seller out of post Future State DC.
That and Titans Academy.
Titans Academy definitely were the big hits. So
everybody saw Teen Titans Academy being a big hit once Red X, but you're right, this was a surprise. I already own 79, but I have to get this.
That's great. It's a great
I have to get that cover.
So pretty much every issue of Nightwing so far has gone back for a second printing. I think
there's only been 2 of them, but yes.
But I see that also going for a while with as popular as Nightwing is now.
Yeah. All right, so this is Spider-Man Spider Shadow number 1, the second print. This is by Chip Zdarsky, telling the tale. What if Peter Parker kept the Venom symbiote? What would that do to his life? What would that do to his mind? What would it do to those around him? If you missed out on the first print, here's your chance to get the second print. Or if you just want what is a very cool cover.
Yeah.
There it is.
We are still waiting for the second issue of Demon Days, but in the meantime, we have Demon Days number 1. Just again, this is the 3rd printing by Momoko, and this features, just like the other ones did, a different character. This is featuring Juju, the magical medicine lady who helps give them some advice on how to defeat Venom in the first issue. So another good cover. This is the 3rd printing of number 1.
Next is The Many Deaths of Layla Starr, number 1, 3rd printing. I didn't even know this went to a second printing, but I knew, after I read the number 1, I knew this was going to be big. It was so unique, such a well-crafted story, using a lot of elements, mythological and everything that we just don't see a whole lot in comics, by Ram V. So I think this is primed to probably go for a couple more printings with as big as I think this is going to get.
Yeah, really unique storyline.
Yeah, very...
really unique premise.
Yeah.
So they are releasing a Future State Superman trade paperback. This has a lot of issues. This is everything Superman and Superman related, because it's also Kara Zor-El. It is Legion, so Jonathan Kent stuff. It's all of that from Future State. It's $39.99. I had to put notes off to the side because I have so much in it. So it's Superman Metropolis 1 and 2, Worlds of War 1 and 2, Superman vs. Imperious Lex 1 through 3, Kara Zor-El Superwoman 1 and 2, Legion of Superheroes 1 and 2, and lastly the House of L one-shot. So everything Superman related from Future State. If you wanted to read that, I'll collect it or later. $39.99.
All right. What?
Yes.
There's a cover? Yes.
All right.
I didn't know there was a cover. This is actually a surprise to me. Wow. Okay. Space Jam: A New Legacy. Oh, it does say not final cover at the bottom there. I'm seeing. We'll see.
It's a cover, and we
It's
know it's not going to be
something-
far from this.
It's something to look at. So yes, there is a Space Jam trade paperback coming out. It's just $12.99, going to be 152 pages, and it's going to be an adaptation of the movie coming out this summer. So really excited for this, really excited for the movie. It's your chance, do your dance to your keyboard and type out that you want this and let us know.
The Space Jam.
I was going to say, for the new movie, do you think they'll remix the old song, or do you think somebody will dare try to come up with a song as good as the first one?
No,
That song
can't.
is insanely catchy somehow.
We play it here. Everybody just, it makes you feel good the second you hear
Everyone my age, like, you signed a contract that, like, I don't care what the new Space Jam looks like. I am legally obligated to go see it.
Absolutely. Well, Mortal Kombat just came out, and in the credits they had that EDM remix of that song. So I'm going to say
It'll probably be a remix.
they'll do a remix, and I'm excited for it.
It can't be a re-recording. They just have to take the original audio and do something with it, because it's perfect. Next up is Godzilla Unnatural Disaster, and this actually collects legends. These are like mini series that they did about Godzilla. Legends, In Hell, and Rage Across Time. Which the cool one is Rage Across Time, because it's like, what was Kaiju and Godzilla doing during the Roman times, or caveman, or stuff like that. So if you're trying to get your Godzilla fix after Godzilla vs. Kong, this is a great one. The art is awesome in these, and this is only $29.99 for what's essentially like 3 miniseries in one.
Godzilla in Hell is really good too, and that's that. And I'll tell you, just find individual comics for that. Some of those cost quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
They're hard to get, so it's really cool. They collected it all in that. So next up, this is The Downriver People, which is an original graphic novel. So this is not a collection of a comic you could have already gotten. If you want to read it, this is the way to read it. This is by Adam Smith and Matthew Fox, who are Eisner Award winners for their work on The Long Walk to Valhalla. This tells the story, it's set back in Prohibition days, of a gentleman named Myers, who is a bootlegger. He's just inherited his family's bar, and to help run it, he has to get help from his estranged mother, who he hasn't seen since he was a little kid. So it sounds like a period piece, sort of personal story. At the same time, it also says that there is some sort of dark occult, like cult people involved somehow. I don't know how that figures in. It's sort of tacked in there as well. So I don't know what to expect from this one, but
I like the cover. Looks like a Coen Brothers movie poster.
Yeah,
getting that kind of vibe. So
I think that's pretty dead on to what the description kind of sounded like as well. So this is just $19.99 for a new original graphic novel.
All right, this is the King in Black trade paperback, all collected 1 through 5 here. None of the one-shots, just that main storyline where Null and his army of symbiote dragons wreak havoc on Earth. So this is $25, 1 through 5. I like that Marvel's having these reasonably priced trade paperbacks. So if you missed out on the series, or in between the gaps and all the confusion, you don't have them all, here they're all together.
Next up is Star Wars Empire Strikes Back Special Hardcover Edition. This is celebrating the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back, and they've been doing these kind of magazine-size hardcovers and paperbacks that have interviews in them. Plus, this one says it has unseen images, which, I mean, if you're a Star Wars fan, I feel like you've seen the same images for those movies. There's only so many pictures taken back then. But yeah, really, really cool. And there's, I believe, a few covers for this. Yeah, this is the special, I believe, the FOC variant.
The previews exclusive.
This is the previews exclusive variant, which is beautiful.
Only us comic stores get.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, so super cool in there. And then we have one more cover.
That's the hardcover.
Okay, this one's the hardcover.
Yeah, so the hardcover one, it's $25. It's $10 more because of the nice, gonna last cover. The other ones are $15. So now it's time to talk a little bit about Free Comic Book
Free
Day.
Comic Book Day.
It's
But wasn't
not-
that weeks ago, May 1st or whatever?
Or wait, May 1st is tomorrow.
Oh, is it tomorrow? No. Wrong. It's later.
So Free Comic Day typically is May 1st. It is not this year. Because of the pandemic, it has been pushed back. When is it? June? July?
It's in August.
Oh, wow. Even further than I thought. So Free Comic Day this year is in August. All the books are listed on freecomicbookday.com. We're just going to go over 5 right now. 5 that we think are pretty big. We might do a full show in the future. We go over all of them.
We probably will, yeah. But this is just as... I mean, we have to actually place our orders for Free Comic Book Day this week.
We do.
So we did just want to give people a heads up, like, hey, start thinking about Free Comic Book Day. It's happening this year.
Yeah, if you have a pull box or you order through us and you want to tell us which ones you're most interested in, that'll help change our order. But the first one I want to talk about is Marvel has 2 big books that they're doing on Free Comic Day. The first is this Avengers book. So what is it about? They claim it has a new character in it called Avenger Prime.
Ooh.
That is the character's name. So who is this Avenger Prime, and what does his sort of advent do to the past, present, and future of the Avengers? So that's all we know. It is all original, all new stuff. A lot of times they do sort of they do big things at Free Comic Book Day that lead into really big events later in the year.
Yeah.
So the other one I'm going to talk about is they're launching one called Spiderman/Venom. They probably both have stories in it. Usually it's not a combined story. This one, there was no solicitation on. I mean, there was nothing. Literally, the solicitation said, this book has Spider-Man and it has Venom. I guess that's, I mean, it's enough for me to get it.
That could be said about a lot of books. But
yeah, I mean, it's free. It is interesting, though, because this is post-Donny Cates. So who knows what's going on with Venom then? Who knows how he's looking? It's been long enough with King in Black. We can talk about it now.
Yeah.
So Venom is now the new King in Black, sort of. He is the new god of the symbiotes. So hopefully this is going to have something to do with that.
Yeah.
All right, Enter the House of Slaughter. This is the Something is Killing the Children Free Comic Book Day book this year. This will definitely be big. If you've read any Something is Killing the Children, then what a long title.
Yeah. They've run out of short titles. You have to add more words.
But if you've read any of it, you know that Erica is not working alone. There is definitely some other people in the background, so I think we'll get to see some of the House of Slaughter in this. Not a lot in the solicitation, but there's something.
I mean, surely she has to be related to Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
From, wrestling in G.I. Joe, and I mean, that just makes sense.
And then we have Red Room, Rivers of Blood by Ed Piskor. This is it's completely new material that he has made for Red Room. So Red Room is going to be a 12-part series, and this is completely additional content. So definitely another big one, and not kid-friendly for Free Comic Book Day. The opposite of something you want to give a child.
That's going to be behind the counter, maybe under the counter.
This is Star Wars High Republic. This is, I believe, original content set in the IDW High Republic universe. So this one as well is going to be big. Everybody trying to get all the High Republic things will definitely want to be picking this one up.
Yeah, it's called Balance and Guardians.
That's actually a different one. There's 2.
Oh,
so this is the IDW one. There is another one. I'm not sure if we don't have an image of it, that is going to be collecting the first chapter of the new manga High Republic story, and also Journal of the Wills, which was a novel set in the Rogue One, with Rogue One characters, True Imwe and Baze. So it's going to be like half and half of those. And I think what's interesting about that is we know that the Free Comic Book Day One Punch Man is now selling online for a lot of money, because it's weird that you get like manga at comic book size, and this one is going to have part of the High Republic manga that size.
Wow. Okay.
So if it's about Star Wars, I got it. I got it all down. Just ask me anything.
So if you want to see the rest of the comics offered for Free Comic Book Day, just go to freecomicbookday.com. They're all up. All the covers are up. All the solicitations are up, like the ones that say feature Spider-Man and Venom.
And if you want to see a free comic book day video, just let us know in the comments. We will, depending on interest, maybe carve out some time to make that. But yeah, please let us know, because it definitely will influence our decision if we get a whole lot or a little bit of something.
Also, DC does say that they're going to have a free comic book day book, but since they're no longer distributed through Diamond, a lot of that information comes through Diamond. Like Free Comic Book Day is a Diamond event. We are waiting for their announcement about what they're doing for whatever they're calling it, if they're tying it in with Free Comic Book Day or they're calling it something different for themselves, Comic Book Day. So be on the lookout, because DC should announce something soon.
All right, well, if you guys liked any of the stuff you saw here, let your comic book shop know. Let them know before this Monday for most titles, but before Sunday for DC. And if you need to order anything through us, we're going to put up some info on the screen. And we hope to see you again next week, same time, same place. Go follow us on all the social medias for everything new and interesting and awesome. And we will see you back here next week.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. We're over 800 subscribers now, trying to get to 1,000. So thank you very much. We will see you next time.